I'm back with my fifth Priscilla Shirer book, and it's called One in a Million. As you can see, I got a lot of stuff highlighted, so I'm not going to cover the whole book, but I'm just going to tell you some few points of the book. Okay, in One in a Million, she has a chapter called Craving Cannon. And what that means, she's talking about abundance life with him. Then there's a chapter called Fleeting Egypt. But what I'm going to talk about really quick is I'm going to talk about, how, and she doesn't say it in exact words, but this is my understanding, my perception of it, and you'll have to read deeper to get it. But you know how as kids we go to church because we were made to go to church, and we're like in church but not really in church, and then we go to church and we get the preaching and some of the teaching at church, and that's like an appetizer is what she says. It's an appetizer because that's not enough, in order for you to grow the way you need to grow spiritually. You gotta do a little bit more. And so she talks about that. Well, she teaches that in this book. And she talks about certain places once you have been saved or you've changed. It's certain places that you shouldn't go to anymore because you know that the devil rules. And it's kind of like, once you get saved and you probably have to cut some relationships because you just no longer, you can't be back where you once was once you've been cleansed and delivered. You can't go back to doing the same things you once did, and some of those people have not spiritually grown to where you're at. So basically she talks about that, and she talks about bondage, being bondage to sin, and it's a good teaching. But one thing about her books, she backs them up with scripture. Each chapter is backed up with scripture. And it's not just a book. These are like Bible study books, because I think there's another book like this, One in a Million. It's like a Bible study, but this is just like the book to read. It's like a Bible study and a workbook. And so, I learned a lot from reading her books. I mean, I've really learned a lot. And all her books tie into, they're all tying in together, So you really, with reading her books, you're really learning. She's teaching you and you're learning and you're growing spiritually, which is awesome. And she uses, I like to say that, examples from the Bible, like Moses and the children of Egypt, and how Moses freed the children of Egypt. So, and then she used a couple of her self experiences as a child, growing up a preacher's daughter as an example too. So I love her books. They're inspiring, encouraging, and I am learning a lot from reading these books. And I'm still on my Priscilla Shirer challenge, where I'm trying to go through every book that she's read. And so the next book that I'm probably going to do, I bought Discerning the Voice of God, but I'm not quite ready for that. But I'm probably going to do Armor of God after I finish this One in a Million. And when she says it's One in a Million, she talks about, sometimes how you can be in church and, she's not for saying church hop, but how you can be in church and sometimes you grow from being at that church and you have to go to another church that may be more spiritual fit for you. But she talks about that. So it's really, it's an excellent read. And like I said, she's inspiring you. She's teaching you some things and she's making you think. And that's awesome. All of that is awesome. So I urge everybody to get One in a Million. And that's all I have to say for now. So this is Michaela, Voluminous Mama, Fabulous 44's Book Club. Y'all have an awesome evening.